to the Coach V Show, your Hollywood radio show for personal development with expert insights and interviews to help you, me, and we work to be our best and live our best lives. Offering today from your boy, Danny Katoa, and your boy, Coach V, success frameworks, behavioral models, and life lessons that if you find value in, that you extract those life lessons, behavioral models, and success frameworks, deploy it and spread it all over your life, leadership, and business. In that today on the Coach V Show, powered by Island City, where the beach meets the streets, we have brother Danny Katoa coming in from the 808. And Danny Iteni Katoa is a family man. He is married to his wife of 21 years, Katherine, and has two sons, Sosaia and Kimo. He entered the University of Hawaii on a football scholarship and earned a bachelor's of arts degree in sociology. He spent very close to 2 decades as a business builder, public speaker, investor, and marketplace minister. He helps to create wealth and eliminate systematic poverty generationally, and not just in one generation, multitudes of family lineage and generations. He partners with the Holy Spirit to nurture, support, encourage, teach, and disciple the lost to gain their identity in the Lord. His voice and work is his worship to display the love of Father in the marketplace, starting in his own home. His dad made a huge sacrifice to bring him and his siblings to the amazing country and of Inglewood, California, for them to have a better life. In fact, his father came to California with nothing. He didn't even know how to speak the language nor understand the culture, but he overworked for 3 years to save enough money to bring all of them to the U.S. in the early 80s. Witnessing his dad literally work himself to death reminds him that he must do better for the next generations. That's why he said to himself, I will never allow my lack to stop me from going after all that God has for me and my family. Now is my turn to perpetuate the culture, respect, honor, and love to change the future of my children and children's children. His success has earned him a title of the Millionaire Club member in Legalshield and a 200K earner in the year mark. Mr. Katoa has mentored and trained numerous associates that made them reach high income opportunities and achieve top positions in the company. He has now exceeded all the financial goals that he has and is now heading from the business quadrant into the investment quadrant. Island City and Coach V family, welcome to the show, your boy Danny Katoa. Danny, welcome to the Coach V Show, brother.
Hey, brother, it is an honor and a privilege. I've always been a long admirer of your journey and the work that you're doing. So I'm actually humbled and quite excited to be here, sir, and finally get to meet you and fellowship in the last couple of weeks. It's been great. It's been great.
Yeah, no doubt. And just so you know, that I also feel the same thing about you and all that you're doing. And I'm excited to continue this journey and also just feature all the great things you and your team are doing, not only for yourself in terms of your own success, but within your community, in terms of spreading God's amazing grace all over the people that you come into contact with. So let's start there, Danny. Danny, tell us your story.
Well, yeah, I think a little bit in my bio kind of gave you a picture and a glimpse of what it is. But I was born and raised in Tonga, and at the age of 10, we migrated to Inglewood, California, and that was a culture shock. I mean, you go from a third world country into the hood of Inglewood, California, but I thought we was, people talk about America, it was kind of like, the picture of heaven, that's the imagination I had as a 10-year-old, right? And so when we landed in Hawaii in '83, prior to migrating to Inglewood, California. Man, it was, I've never seen buildings that high. I've never seen cars, that many cars, stores and things of that nature. So it was definitely a culture shock. But Inglewood, California was, in the mid 80s, drugs started to infuse the neighborhood, and man, it was a mess, so having to be there at the same time, I was like, man, I'm ready to go back to Tonga. It's much safer,
Right.
Yeah. So, but I think, at the time you're young, you're naive, you don't look at it from a set of eyes or lenses of, perspective. You only it's only emotions, the decisions that you make. But it's definitely, reflecting back on it now, it has molded me into the person that I am today, and so I'm grateful for the environment. And I realized that was the best my parents could do at the time, so never went victim to it. And today I get to rewrite the story. But man, one thing that my parents infused, and my siblings, I have an older brother and a younger brother and two sisters. And one thing that my parents infused in us was our culture. And I never, I used to saw it as a young man as like, man, we're in America. We need to live like Americans. But man, my mom used to beat us when we spoke English in the house. It's like,
Right.
we're going to speak. This is our culture. And, just looking back, I thought there was some good things to it and some bad things to it. But like I say, you take the good and the bad and just keep moving, and football was a safe haven for me. Pop Warner, I got to play Pop Warner, and that was a funny story just to share. My older brother has been like a father figure to me, and my best friend, my older brother Joe, I think he's like 7 years older than me. But I've just always loved following him around. And one day we came back from yachting. It was a summer, and I think I was 11 or 12, and I saw this Pop Warner tryouts. They were right at the school by my house, and I said, "Man, Joe, you gotta take me over there and sign me up, man. I'll bust this guy's up,
Yeah.
But at this time, English. I was not a verbiage. It wasn't a culture today where I could communicate effectively. So my brother takes me over, and he spoke English because he was the only one in my family. Well, and my older sister, they spoke English because they were in high school in Tonga, and so that was taught, in Tonga to them. So they were like the translator for our family. So my brother literally signed me up for Pop Warner and translated for me everything. Like, he went to practice, he was, translating, told what the coach say, do a lap. Like, he was a coach, and it was
Right.
so funny. But it really inspired me. I see how come I went so far in the game to learn and grew from it. So I went from Pop Warner, I think for 2 years. I never played, Coach B. Like, I never got on the field,
Right.
put on the uniform. I just didn't know. I didn't know offense from defense.
Yeah.
But I was willing to go, and I think once I figured out defense, they put me at nose tackle.
Right.
And I saw all I have to do is get the ball. Get the ball. And one day I shot the gap and sacked the quarterback, and that was it. That feeling was like, it was like no other feeling. I was like, I can do this,
Right.
And I remember making an all-star team that year on my third year, and I was going into high school the next year, and it just literally changed my life. I went in, I played varsity football, started as a true freshman.
Wow.
And mind you, English was bad, but the coach, at this time, being around my older brother like forced me to grow up faster.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a freshman in high school when I started playing in the Tongan rugby league with old men,
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
started playing club rugby, and just because I was following my brother, and he loved the game of rugby, and I played with him. But football really taught me discipline and really allowed me to grow. But more so, it taught me how to be a leader, and it taught me how to speak English. That's
Mm-hmm.
and I'm so grateful. I went to El Camino Junior College for 2 years,
Right.
and then I got a scholarship, to University of Hawaii. That was a dream for me to
Mm.
play in Hawaii. And my coach, Coach Justice, I owe him my life, and he made that dream happen for me. And so I came here to University of Hawaii. To make a long story short, I had 3 years to play too. And then I got my degree, and I went away to chase, the dream, right? I played a little bit of arena football. I played arena football too, and had a little sting in arena football one, but never really quite work out. And so that's when the real world set in.
Right, right.
After that, you try to figure out what the next move. I got it out of my system, and I came back to Hawaii, and I married my girlfriend at the time, which is my wife now. We have two beautiful boys, teenagers. They're both in high school, and one is a senior and one is a freshman, and just loving life, man. I found Legalshield through my first time utilizing the internet in
Mm-hmm.
2003. And that's what I do today. I've been with Legalshield for over 18 years.
Wow.
And has literally revolutionized, changed my life, just like the game of football. And got involved in ministry about 10 years ago. I've always been in
Mm.
ministry. Well, I've always been around ministry because of my parents. They were heavily into it in Inglewood, California, and my dad basically did it for the rest of his life before he passed. And so I wanted to get as far away from ministry as possible.
Right, 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 right.
I just
Pastor's son, right?
exactly, and I just saw the sacrifice that my dad made, and I was like, man, and especially in Tongan, Tongan, we we don't really teach grace, and so we're almost like, I felt like being bossed around. I didn't really have a life, so that's why I chose sports. Like I try to keep myself busy. I wrestled. I was a
Mm-hmm.
wrestler. I even played baseball
Wow.
and tennis.
So that way you don't have to do all the booty at home, right?
Come on, brother. We on time already, and that's so that I just didn't have to do any chores or any responsibility, or going to clean up the church,
Right.
that nature. Once in a while it's okay, but not every day. I wasn't with it. So, just rebellious, just like any kid, but
Yeah.
man, life has been good. I realized that my parents' prayers and their guidance is what I'm at today, and I'm grateful for that. So yeah, man, life is good. I couldn't, as a adult today at 48, I feel like I understand the word legacy. Building a legacy,
Mm.
and want to definitely honor my dad's sacrifice. That's what drives me today to go, even in spite of not knowing, what's ahead, if that makes sense. And so I definitely want to lead my children in the same, set the same pathway for them as what my dad and my mom, my parents have instilled in us, and my siblings and I. So that's the goal, is to really. I read a book, Coach V, a while ago through business, called The Jewish Phenomenon. That
Mm.
book, that book really inspired me. And just seeing how the Jewish community in Beverly Hills and Hollywood and where they at today, in life, financially. I mean, they pretty much own Hollywood, Beverly Hills.
Right.
But at one point they didn't, but
Right.
the way that they came together and one generation, that first generation that came to America, they were willing to die so that the next generation will live, and so they worked together as a team, and that's how they built each other up to be owners, and they went from labor to being owners, now to be investors. And so that always intrigues me to go. I see a lot of our Tong community and churches and things of that nature. They work together, but at some point, they lose vision of what they want to accomplish because simply there's no vision. They're just working for money, So.
Right. Wow. What what an adventure. I mean, just talking about, because every time I think of Inglewood, I really do think of, because of my past experiences, like Century Boulevard and the car wash right there off of Century. Right. I think of that donut spot.
Come on, man.
Who can't think about the arena there right off of Century where the Lakers played.
Yeah, the Forum.
What was that called again?
The Forum.
Yeah, the Forum. I mean, like that's what I think of. And thinking of a kid like you coming at 10 years old from Tonga to that. And California is pretty big, and suburbia is everywhere. But if there's that's my first experience of really a concrete jungle, was like Inglewood, downtown LA, right? Yeah. Right. South Central LA. Like, people don't realize that are not from Cali that SC's the hood now. Right. It just got better maybe the last 15 years, right? But I mean, like,
stab in the hood.
Yeah, right in the hood, right? And that area was really, really rough. So let's start with my first question is, please introduce us to who your parents are and like where in Tonga you came from.
So yeah, that's a great question. So my mom is from Kolomotua. She's Kolomotua and Kolovai. And her dad is from Kolovai. Her mom is from Kolomotua. And my dad is from Kanokupolu and Havakatolo. And so but I grew up in Kolovai. So my parents got married and they raised us in Kolovai. And so we're from the Hihifo side,
Yeah.
And just a very part of a very large family, extended family. And I think almost every Tongan, it's the same way. The family's very extended, but ours is extended.
Yeah.
I feel like, but yeah, that's where my parents are from. And then before we migrated here, we still have I still have uncles and aunties. They're all spread out, Australia, New Zealand, and then still in Tonga as well.
Yep. And your parents' names?
Oh, I'm sorry. My dad's name is Billy Funaki Katoa, and my mom's name is Emma Luisa Katoa. But she's Fe'ao. Her maiden name is Fe'ao.
And then when you first came here, talk us through like your schooling in Inglewood, elementary school, junior high, high school.
Ooh, that's a tough question. Oh man, I get emotional talking about that. When the first day I was dropped off in the 5th grade, so I came here, I was 10. And I was getting ready to go to college in Tonga. Polisi. And so my friends, I wanted to go to Toloa, but my siblings, my older brother went to he went to Tonga High, and my sister went to College Fefinde, and my brother, who's my cousin that I was raised with, he went to Atele. And all, you know, I couldn't go to College Fefinde because they're all the girls.
Yeah, girls' school.
And my uncle who raised me at the time, you know, he asked me, he said, hey, what you thinking? You know, where do you want to go to college? You know, because, you know, you have to take a test, right?
Right.
To go. And then you got to pick, I think, like 3 schools or 5 schools that you want to go to. Then you take the test. And then the equivalent of your grade determines the school you go to, right? So the highest is Tonga High. And so I told my uncle, who was the principal of the school who raised me, he said, well, let's just see if I can go to this school, you know, to where my brother was at. And my uncle looked at me, he goes, boy, you know you can't.
Right.
So yeah, so that's so the 5th grade. So when we transitioned and moved here, I was getting ready to go to Katoa with my age group at 10 years old, right?
Right.
I get here, the school system drops you back to the 5th grade. So I went to the 5th grade. And man, Coach V, I would never forget that day. I felt like I was being dropped off at an orphanage, you know?
Yeah.
You know, because it's a foreign country, you know, it's a foreign land. And I know nothing. Like whatever the teacher was saying, I heard it, but I couldn't interpret. I didn't know. I was clueless. And I was standing there. I was like, man, y'all gonna just. I saw my parents walk away, and with my auntie Linda, who was helping us, and I just break down crying. I will never forget that day. One of the days I still feel like an orphanage standing there, like being left behind. So I had to repeat the 5th grade twice because I came in, I started right before there was ending. It was like 3 weeks before school system was ending, and somebody told him, hey, at least get him into the system so that he can be counted for, you know. I don't know what the whole strategy was, but my auntie Linda took us. She was an interpreter, helped us fill out the paperwork, and got me and my younger sister into elementary. So 3 weeks of school, then the summer, then I had to repeat the 5th grade again because obviously I didn't pass, right? And I think that worked out great for me because it put me in my right age growth, you know. And so it gave me another extra summer to learn a few words. And so when I came back the following year, I got hip to the culture a bit. Like I started to see, and this is where I got introduced to Pop Warner football, you know, and that accelerated my learning curve and my learning process of learning how to speak English. But that education in Inglewood, California was tough, man. And so went from the 5th grade, 6th, graduated from there, went to the junior high school, which was right next door. And
what was the name of the schools, the elementary school in the junior?
It was Woodworth Elementary School.
Yeah, Woodworth.
you know Woodworth?
Man, because you know we got some mutual people we know that grew up there. Right, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So Woodworth, there was Woodworth High School. I mean, elementary school.
Yep.
The junior high was right next door. It was called Monroe High School, junior high, and the high school was right in front. You know, it was called Morningside. So it was all connected together, and the hood was facing all the school. Like it was like circling the school, you know, and it's just kind of a setup for a bad environment.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. And then so El Camino, I mean, that's one of the, El Camino and those JCs down there. So Long Beach CC, El Camino, Pasadena CC, right? Mount Sac, Riverside CC. I mean, those are some freaking dogs. I mean, those junior colleges, one, there's more junior colleges in that region than most like 10 or 12 other states
Wow.
combined, something like that, right? And then, but you're basically just driving like city to city. And then the cats that either didn't know and needed to develop or couldn't qualify, they end up there and then they go big.
Mm.
Right. How was that experience? Like, who was the head coaches there? How did they impact you? And what did junior college do for you? And then being able to leave being, a 3 for 2, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Man, I'll say it this way. It was probably the best time of my life of growth,
Yeah.
because I I got humbled big time out of high school, not getting a scholarship, um, for not having things in order. I just
Yep.
thought that my talent would take me to where I wanted to go, and so I was humble. So I came in with a little bit of chip on my shoulder to outwork people, and that was the first time I really felt like working, like putting in the work. For most of the years, you put in the work, but it's mostly systemic, is that's put together by the coaches, right?
Right, right,
I
right,
never really made a decision to go out and run on my own or lift on my
right.
own or work out on my own, right? But when I got there, one of my best friends, his name is Chris Mamalanga, he's a year ahead of me. Yeah, he's one
Mhm.
year ahead of me. And so Chris was in Kansas. And so that was a huge inspiration for me. He got a scholarship in Kansas. And every time he would come back, he would we would connect, and I saw his work ethic was like at a whole different level. And so that inspired me to work on myself. But I didn't really pick up like all the whole uh dedication and self-development
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
working out on my own. But man, every time Chris came and this other kid named Viliami Mau Mau, they
Mm.
both went to the pros. It really inspired me. So we would work out together. But El Camino taught me how to play the game right,
Mm.
and really prepared me for the next level. You know, really prepared me for the next level in so many ways. And then I think it was the best. As I reflect, I think it was the best time I played the game for fun. Because when
Yeah.
I got to D1, it was,
It was
I and
business, right? It was
yeah, it
real.
was business. It
Yeah.
was real. Like the guys that was in front of you, they were just as good. And,
Yup.
and
Yup.
what would separate you from them, is actually work. Is the work ethic and the discipline, and things of that nature. But El Camino, my coach was his head coach was John Featherstone, and my position coach was Coach Justice. And
Mm.
we're still, him and I are still friends. We still talk today. Matter of fact, I just saw him a week ago. But yeah, I had a great time. That gentleman taught me how to play the game and recognize tendencies and how to read the play.
Mhm.
Something I think it was taught to me in high school, but it went one out 1 year
Yeah,
out
yeah.
of another, and I just relied on my talent a lot to make up a lot of things. So today having to try to preach that to my kids. My oldest son, he gets it. He's a hard worker. He separates himself by working hard. But my youngest, yeah, I can see a lot of my tendency in him in so many ways. But El Camino was probably one of the a pivotal point in my life. Really growing from a young man into being a man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Junior college, I was a JC guy too, and I just feel like that's just just it can go sideways real quick. If
Totally.
if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time and you're just hanging with the wrong crew, and if a person doesn't have the discipline to keep their eye on the prize and really what the mission is, or have any goals, right? But for a lot of people can also be a springboard. So then you go from junior college, riding around on buses, traveling from cities to cities, to now being at the University of Hawaii, and flying all over the country. What was that like for your perspective?
Yeah, man, it was weird, exciting.
Right, right, right.
It was weird and exciting because we're in so many ways. Like, you know, I realized how much budgeting and finances plays in the game of football. You know, as a young age, you just play the game. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, right.
so but I realized how low budget we were. And I'm not
Yep.
saying anything bad about Hawaii. It's
No, real
just,
talk.
you know, this is real talk. This so um like we used to fly, like just like for instance, we fly in to play Wyoming, right?
Yeah,
We get in is to Wyoming, so we have to fly to LA or somewhere else for a connection flight.
right,
And then from there to Wyoming, we land at 3 a.m. in the morning. We
right.
get to the hotel. We have a quick meeting at 4 a.m. in the morning. Then we go to sleep. It's like 5 a.m. in the morning, right? Then we got to wake up at 9 to get ready for a kickoff at 11 o'clock, you know?
Right.
And man, you know, are you running down the high altitude on kickoff,
Yeah,
and by the time you get to the end zone, it's like, you know,
yeah, yeah.
based on the lack of sleep, lack of nutrition, and the lack of preparation about the
Yeah.
altitude, it was bad. So that was some experience I had to adjust and learn, you know, years to get through. But you know, it's always fun when you're going with the boys. You know, you
Right.
all of that stuff goes out the window when the whistle blows. You know, you
Yep.
don't, you know, and so we started to learn how to prepare and put in the extra work. You know, every week we had to travel. You knew personally that you had to work extra hard, like especially playing schools like BYU, Utah,
Yeah.
Colorado, Air Force, Colorado State, you know,
Yeah.
in the military school, because you playing at high altitude,
Yep.
you know, it's not like going to San Jose or state or something like that, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, it was tough, but like I said, it was one of the best experiences of my life playing at that level, and yeah, I miss it. I wish there's a lot of things I wish I could have done differently. You know, now that I reflect on it and replay a little bit, um, you know, to prepare myself especially to maximize the opportunity. I didn't really get it that
Yeah.
it I really didn't get it until my senior year that this was the formula, you know,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
to treat it this way, you know, like a business. And you know, as much as my buddy Chris tried to instill in me, you know, the ego and everything else, you know, you try to work through it, you know. And but my senior year probably was one of the funnest years I played at a high level in college.
Yeah. It's just so different, but amazing, amazing, right, Danny? That just like any vacation, where when you get to a destination, you really don't know until the end, but then you're about to go home. That's kind of like life leadership in business, right? Is that in your senior year you figured it out, but dang, if you would have known the year you first got there and just how to prepare. But I mean, you just can't figure it out until you have to travel and you have to get, because that's the dynamic that's so tough, where a lot of people can't make the jump either from junior college or high school to D1, is not just having the preparation for football games, but really how to handle the academic and the social life that doesn't allow you to really prioritize football and maximize it. Is that true or not true? What are your thoughts?
Man, that is so on point. You know, that is so on point. And I think this is why a lot of people who are advocate today and having someone to guide them along through the
Yeah,
process, right? Like, you know, to really instill that. people, I don't know what they call them. I think it's coaches or advocates or agents or
Yeah.
whatnot.
Right.
They are there. Like Chris today, my buddy Chris, he really is an advocate and a conduit to players that's transitioning from high school to college and then from college to pros. Like he really walks them through the whole process, right?
Right.
Like the parents and things of that nature. And he shares with me sometimes that even some players listen, some players don't, and so I think when you have a great backbone of support system that can support you through it, then you're winning, then you're ahead of the game, and then at the same time, you got to be, I think us as players, if you are a player, you got to understand the end game, like the bigger picture of what you're trying to accomplish, and whether that's just graduating from college, or if you have the chance, like if you have the chance to go to that next level, then now the sacrifice that you have to make. I didn't understand though. I mean, I understood the sacrifice, but I didn't understood the business aspects of it. I understood the sacrifice, the physical aspects of it, what I need to do to prepare myself mind wise and body wise to play, but I didn't understand the whole business aspects of it. And so I think it hurts a lot of people when they don't have that someone to guide them through, through the process, like I think it helps soften the blow, and then it allows you to travel the path of least resistance when you can have an advocate or a mentor or guidance to support you through that, especially as a young high school student, just kind of lay out the facts. Hey, if you go this route, this is what's going to happen, but if you go this route, if you listen to me and we go this route, you do what you have to do and I do what I have to do, this is where we're going to end up at, right? And I think that's what some of this personalized coaching helps makes a difference today in imparting to the kids or directing the kids or supporting the kids in that way. I think that's a huge asset that I wish in our time we had access to.
Yeah. Kids, I was just behind you guys graduating in '94, and I mean, you guys are legends down in SoCal. I remember Chris. I think Shonda Smith from Etowanda, which I played against. He was a senior when I was a sophomore at Etowanda. And Etowanda, I think they went 28-0 their last 2 years. Shonda was it. I think he was at Kansas because during Chris's time is one of the last times I could ever remember that Kansas was remotely, remotely like legitimate in terms of the conversation for the Big 12 or whatever, right? But I mean, I remember watching both of you when I was younger and just going, man, there's some Tongan brothers up there. But really, I mean, like you said, perspective and having an advocate, somebody that can really increase your vision and have you really consider your options. Because I tell everybody all the time, because I'll get calls from people about Boise State, where I was at, or what it's like to be. And I'm just like, look, just think of it like this. So if you're looking at conferences, and I think this is one of the reasons why some of the best quarterbacks in college football right now are back east at ACC and Big East schools. I mean, SEC and Big Ten schools, because, I mean, you think about it. I mean, there's a difference between playing Hawaii, BYU, Utah State, Nevada, San Diego State. Those are great opportunities, and playing at the highest level that you can should be something that you look at and that you can actually play, that you feel like realistically you feel you have every opportunity to play. Man, but there's also a difference about going into a 100-person conference in college 4 or 5 times a year when you're at Ohio State, you're playing Michigan, you're playing Penn State. I mean, it's just drastically different, because even when I first got into D1 ball, right, and you can attest to this, there's a difference between when I first got to Boise State in our first year, we played like Idaho State, then we played Oregon State. And then dramatically 4 years later, when we opened up at Georgia, I mean, Georgia's the #1 team in America right now, but when we played, Georgia was going through some struggles, right? But still playing like AJ Green in between the hedges at Georgia and we were like the highest ranked team we've ever been at Boise State, and we just got smacked, right? And how it felt like as a GA during that time, was like, dang, look at all these like 20,000 people travel from Boise, and just really like, man, I wish we could have done more. But the dynamics of all that is just so intriguing. Playing on TV, right? Playing at high level, right? Right, Danny? I mean, there's a difference between Aloha Stadium and then getting paid to run out at Michigan or Ohio State, which Hawaii does regularly, right? And so some of those opportunities are just like, it's mind-blowing that you could go from playing Pop Warner to high school, and 4 years later, like DJ Uiagalelei at Clemson, is like you're running out as a starter a year and a half out of high school. Come on, Danny, right? I mean, there's a lot there, and people don't realize how close they are and how far away they can be all at the same time. But when it all comes together, it could be amazing. In which case, it all working out, winning championships, BCS championships, national championships, that doesn't happen often.
Amen.
Hey, your final words just on college football before we move into the juice of what you're doing today and how that changed and impacted your life.
Yeah, I think there's one more I take away through this conversation, really, Coach V, is I think it's the preparation. I think for any kid who desires to go to that next level, it's a business. Going to college is a business. You not only learning different discipline, but you want to get as a somebody that can be a sounding board for you, right? Kind of give you a roadmap of what it's like, what to expect, what you should focus on, right? And then be able to have that person when you get stuck, to be able to connect with and say, hey, how do I pivot from here? How do I get support? How do I, get help with my tutoring or studying, right? Because you're just not on the field, and the whole preparation, the whole experience in general. Like, for instance, let's look at it from a academic point of view, right? If you didn't focus on the academic side of things, you wouldn't be the person that you are today. I'm specifically speaking for you, right? So the game of football gave you and I an opportunity to experience something that you and I would have never been able to experience.
Right.
Through, if we try to do it on our own through academics. But because we understood the game of football and had a love for it, it gave us the platform and the permission to grow in life academically. For me, I wasn't that smart of a kid. Academically, I was labeled as a dumb kid. But I worked at it. I realized that at some point I can't play forever. And then there's life after football, and things of that nature. And so how am I preparing myself, for life after football? And that was something I've never really looked at until, the music was like, hey, we're pulling the curtain today.
Abruptly ends, right? Yeah.
Your time is done, and I was like, now you're not pivoting based on purpose, you're pivoting based on, I got to do something, it's out of emergency versus being purpose, so that's what I would say, man. It's like, I can never take anything away from the game of football because it's given me life,
me too.
Even today, like with leadership, like so many things I want to quit in, or I want to give up in a relationship with someone or something, and I think about, like, man, just one more down. Let me just advance the ball. One more down. Let me just get one more play. Let me just, see if I can score with this one more effort, of connection. And, it's taught me so much about just life in general, So this is, I know I'm babbling on here, but this is,
No, go ahead, please. Value, keep going. What else? Anything else?
No, that's it. I mean, there's so much I could just babble on about the same thing, but yeah, I'll stop there.
No, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, Dan. Hey, let's talk about Legalshield. What you're doing now? What are the projects that you're really embarking on? What are you trying to grow? How do we get a hold of you? And what is that platform or service that you can provide value to the marketplace and people?
Awesome. I appreciate it, brother. And so Legalshield is a company that provides affordable legal services. It's kind of like what your medical insurance does to your doctor and hospital bill.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what we do to your attorney and legal bills. And most people, we all know, people can't afford attorneys at $600 to $1,200 an hour, right? It's just it's tough. And so, what Legalshield does is that for $30, a dollar a day, and the buying power of a group, we pay this law firms, not attorneys, a law firm. There's 26 areas of the law. Somebody within the law firm specializes in that area. So within that law firm, we have 4.5 million members who are prepaying for this service. So like, for instance, in California, Parker Stansberry, I believe, is the law firm, and we pay them over $2 million a month to care for our service. So when we call in, they get to help us with whatever it is that we want within the policies, right? And I won't go into the policy, but I'm just kind of explaining to you the big picture of it. So I like the concept because it really gives people access to their legal rights, especially in this last 2 years, what we experienced with the pandemic, right? But it also gives empowerment to someone, especially as a foreigner, who doesn't have a voice or may not have a voice or don't have any directions towards things. So I like that from a service perspective. That's why I've been part of it as an advocate for over 18 years now. What I do really admire that I've grown to like is the business aspects of it. It's marketing the service, but it's more so, it's not just marketing the service or and calling it through walking it, but it's building up people through the business aspects of network marketing, which is called the direct sales. A lot of people look down on the direct sales marketing side of things. I kind of liken it as like the sports of football, right? Like you get as much as you put in, right? Today, learning to pivot from traditional marketing into learning how to market via the internet is really amazing, social media platforms and things of that nature. So I really like that. And I see, from a football perspective or a sports perspective, Billy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I see some of our kids, if we don't make it to the NFL, right? Then we label that kid as a failure, because they didn't go all the way, right? But looking at you right now on the screen, I wouldn't label you as a failure. You pivoted, you and I, we didn't make it to the NFL, but we pivoted. And I'm not trying to knock on the people that made it to the NFL,
right.
But what I'm saying is we have a tendency as a culture to put a spell on someone, right? Versus speaking life. Our words that we get to speak, we speak life or we speak death. And so for me, I look at what I've been able to create in the industry of direct sales. And one of the things that I see that is lacking in our people for over 18 years of experience is they don't take it seriously as the same that they would put into a job or a same commitment that they would put into, playing the game of football at a high level. Because it's truly an industry that I've experienced all types of people. Like, watch this. I have experienced millionaires. and billionaires doing Legalshield. Like people that made their money outside of Legalshield. Like, I mean, outside of this industry. Like, I had a billionaire who was a investor. He was a real estate investor. His name was Paul J. Myers. He was also one of the founders of personal development back in the days. Paul J. Myers, somebody you should look up. It's pretty awesome. So I had the privilege, his past, but I had the privilege of being mentored directly by him for over 5 years. So I used to go to one of his ranches and with a couple of other people. So he joined Legalshield, our company, simply because he liked the product and he liked the opportunity that the average person could join and be able to become a millionaire, right? And what he was doing, he couldn't teach people what he was doing because he had already had made the money. But he said, I can take the average person and teach them how to build wealth and then how to make money and then take that money and build wealth with it. And so he used to pour into us for 5 years straight before he passed, right? And I saw people who are very successful at their job join Legalshield for the same reason as a doctor, I can only work as much as I can, but if I stop working, then he stops. This is what the doctor said. If I stop giving surgery, then my income stops.
Right.
But if I can build a business that kicks me cash flow, whether I'm working or not, that's what I want to get to. And I think that's what the platform of network marketing does. And so many people who are woven to the industry comes because of that leverage perspective, the residual perspective of it, but more so the time freedom that it comes with, right? Like, just like that experience and this is no by coincidence anyway, you know, that I overslept today. Like, I took my kids and I came back and I just blanked out, right? And, you know, I that's never really happened to me in the last 90 days, or I can't even fandom the time, right? But just today it happened. And I'm just like, man, now I got to shuffle so many things around, and you know, obviously had apologized to you already, but
all
I love
good.
that.
All good.
I love the fact to be able to teach a simple concept. So there's so many, I see so many of our people. This is my passion, Coach B. I see our people, I want to be able to affect and help in so many ways of the next generations on how to build wealth, not just based on the level of education that you have or the level of sports accomplishment you have gained. But if you truly have a desire to work and grind, that you can do it. You can do it with the direct sales. It doesn't have to be Legalshield. It could be any company. But I would encourage you to do Legalshield because it's an incredible mission, you know, and things of that nature. And I really see that long term. I'm actually working with a friend of mine in ministry to put together a curriculum to help teach network marketing principles in our high school, you know, to start teaching that as kind of like, you know, workshop. If we're preparing our kids to go work a job, then why not teach them how to build wealth?
Yeah,
you
no
know,
doubt. Right.
You know, there's a difference, right? I know our people, we always look at it, it's like, shit, shut the you know, look at this person, you know, we always have something, well, how do I say this in a pleasant way? We always have something negative to say about someone until that person goes out and do it, you know, and then now they become believers in doing it. But what I want is what I desire and see vision-wise, it is to be able to teach the principles of network marketing to kids at a young age who desire to be entrepreneurs, because it leads them into, I didn't know getting started with Legalshield 18 years ago that would lead me to what I'm doing today. Like that would open up the doors to relationship that I have today. my relationship, my network today of people is my true essence of accomplishment. You know, there's a saying, the rich and wealthy build a network where everyone else go looking for work,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, today I have people in my influence that can help, you know, change the game in a small country, in people's lives, right? If there's a purpose or things of that nature, I know a few guys that I can make a phone call, a few people, even women, that I can make a phone call and say, hey, would you partner with me in making a difference in this? Or, you know, did this make sense to you? But I would have never been able to help do that or acquire the palate or the taste or
Mm.
the elevation or the IQ today if I didn't get into entrepreneurship. So even if you take the Legalshield aspects of it, learn the industry, because it's a huge industry, and I believe it's $187 billion industry. When you
Mhm.
equate that with football, the NFL, I believe, is like 19 or $16 billion industry, and it's
Mm.
100. The direct sales is about 187. The one that comes close to this industry is organic food, which is like about 67, and video games of
Right,
kids,
right, right, right.
like right up there, right? So I'm not trying to boast, be pompous or arrogance. What I'm saying is the facts are the facts, right?
Mhm.
And I think there's a time where we got to pivot our mindset. We got to change our mindset on how we look at things, you know. And if there's a saying that Les Brown would said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you're looking at will be different, you know. And when when I came into the industry, I didn't know it was going to change my life. To literally tell you the truth, I came in because I wanted to make some money. My wife was making more money than me. And as a man, that didn't sit well with me. As a man, I'm supposed to be the provider, you know, and I wanted to be able to take her out to dinner. I think it was just a man's ego, right?
Mm.
But you know, didn't know that was God's plan, and it molded me slowly into it. And today, the 18 years of wealth and experience that I've acquired through Legalshield, I wouldn't trade it for, you know, $1 million. You know, it's just so valuable to me that I know that I can earn more. And to be truly, I'm you know I'm earning more today outside of Legalshield and other investments than what I'm doing my business. You know,
That's awesome.
but my
Yeah.
business pays me whether I work or not. You know, I got two kids that are going to a private school that my wife and I got to stroke a check for 27 G's
Yep.
uh, 2 times, you know, to pay for it. And I would have never been able to do that just working a job. And I'm not knocking on the job. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's more out there for us, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to
Man,
go
I
get.
love that. I love that. True to form, in the fastest hour in Hollywood personal development, we are quickly coming down to the final. But in that, Chris, in a minute or two, what would be your deal, Danny? Danny, what would be your message to the world? What would that be?
I I would say don't be afraid of failing. You know, as a
Mm,
kid, I was labeled as a dumb kid, and that was kind of like the spell that they spoke over me. You know, it was so funny
mm,
because they spoke it so much that I actually received it. You
believed it.
know, and believed it. And but you know, today learning and growing, understanding my true identity and how the Lord sees me, He's never seen me as a failure. And I
Mm,
started to look at failure from a perspective in my journey of 18 years of being in business. If you don't fail, you don't have an opportunity to learn, right?
mm,
Like you can actually learn your way into wealth. And we make failure, I think, in our culture as a bad thing. But
Mm.
failure is part of success. Like if you're not failing, then you're not moving forward. It's like in ministry, my spiritual father would teach me, say, Danny, look at the game, look at ministry as like the game of football. All you're trying to do is to advance the ball to get a first down. And then you're going to build momentum, right? After first down, then pretty soon we're scoring touchdown. Because right now, the devil is scoring left to right. He's just moving the ball up and down the field. What we want to do is just try to stop him so we can get our offense in the game.
Right.
And so
Yep.
that was mind blowing to me. So I just want to encourage people, Coach V, failure is part of the success process in anything. Like I see a
Mhm.
lot of people, not just in our people, but I see a lot of people fail one time. It's like, man, that thing doesn't work,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they
Yeah. Yeah.
come up with
Yeah.
all kind of excuses of instead of moving forward. But it's like one door closes, another door opens, right?
Yes, sir.
And sometimes those door closes because the Lord doesn't want you to go in that door. He has a better door for you. But if we don't have the mindset and a healing heart, it's hard for us to receive things from people, and it's
Mm.
hard for us to really walk out our true destiny in like Bruce Lee say, like water, right? Like so you're
Yeah.
just moving through like water. Just find the gaps and work your way through. But I think a lot of times people look at failure as an obstacle versus, just a part of the success process that you get to, you know, uh, my mentor, that's the second point that I want to pivot into. My mentor shared with me, every level there's a greater devil. Right? Every level you're
Mm.
gonna have to defeat a devil to get to the next one. Like the devil meaning being a challenge, like something God is gonna strategically place something on top. It's like what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where you wanted to earn this a million in your coaching, and you had to overcome a hurdle, right? That's the devil, right? Like the
That's
hurdle. Some
right.
people call it the devil. Some people call it hurdles, but obstacles, whatever it is that you want to call. But every level we want to grow to, there's a different devil standing there that we gotta conquer, that we gotta slay down, or that we have to become bigger than that problem, right? And I realize that so many times we can't solve a problem in the same mindset we created the problem in.
Mm.
We have to become bigger than that problem. So how do we do that? Get a mentor, right? Find a mentor. Failure is inevitable. It comes with success. But mentors help you to travel the path of least resistance. You're able to go faster. And I think, it was why I signed up for your coaching. Yeah, do I know some stuff about personal growth? Yeah, I know, but could I know more? Right.
Mm.
And so it's why I signed up for your mentoring class so that I can grow some more. And especially, all these years of admiring the work that you have done, really excite me to be able to take that on, especially to learn from you. And sometimes our pride gets in the way. Say, well, you're younger than me. Why should I be learning from you? It's like, man, you can
Mm.
learn from anyone, especially someone that's been there and done it, right? Like if I could just learn championship qualities from being around you in this coaching session, then
Mm.
I've already won, right? In that way. But that's a mindset that I would encourage your viewer to take in is one, embrace failure. Number two, get you a mentor.
Mm.
Because it allows you to travel the path of least resistance, yet cause a large amount of change in a short period of time. The inevitable is that we're gonna fail. How many times? It's up to you. That's a choice. I think it's been framed this way. Um, Pain is temporary, but suffering is optional. You get to choose, right? In that way. So that's ultimately our choice. I hope that makes sense.
Oh man, total sense. In that, it was interesting when I reached out because I wanted to get you on the show, and then we started talking about the program, and now we got Legalshield. We're going to have Legalshield on a Zoom call coaching session monthly, and I really appreciate you looking into that and subscribing to the program, and then also for taking the time out of your schedule. I know you got a lot of things going on, man, and for you to just come on, because I've always seen you as a person of value, and it was just long overdue that we connected for a Zoom call. And for everybody that's out there, that life, leadership, business, sports, and relationships is a contact sport. I reached out to Danny just for him to come on the show, and then for him to go, for me to go, you know what? He was talking all the stuff that I believe in, and there was a congruence and alignment there. I said, hey, can I show you what I do real quick? And he goes, man, I would be in on that. Let me get to my team, and I want to. So it's just amazing what happens when you have the courage to be willing to go through somebody denying something that you want to promote, and just make the connection and allow the flow of the process to work itself out. Right now, he's on the show. He's part of the Empowerment to Success Mentor Program, bringing on some people from Legalshield. Shout out to your sister. It just came in yesterday that she subscribed to the program too. Yep. So I'm really grateful. I'm grateful to be able to coach anybody, Danny, that is willing to level up in their place of life, leadership, and business before, like people that are leaders in their industry and that are Tongan and Polynesian, because I've really had more people that are Polynesian subscribe to what it is that I do, come on the program, talk about, hey, this can happen to anybody. But what differentiates the people it is that achieve a certain level of success and life fulfillment, because I think that's totally different, right, Danny? There is a certain level of success that anyone can achieve, but success along with the ability to now translate that success into joy, peace, happiness, fulfillment, love, and family time. That's what it is that I'm saying that is available to all of us, especially here in the United States of America, right? Where the American dream really is. I'm not saying that the starting point's the same, right, Danny? Right? For you and I, it was not the same. Or Chris Maumalanga, the legends from the 310 from your guys' area, right? I mean, but what I'm saying is that if you try and you stick with it, you might have to pivot. You might have to be patient for a couple of years. I mean, it's taken me 11 years. This is my 11th years in the personal development space to get to where I am today, right? 11 years. So I really appreciate you coming on the show. And take 30 seconds, Danny. What's your final, and your experience being on the show? And then we'll close this out.
Man, 30 seconds. Okay. I think, so I say it this way. So one of the things that I do understand today from a faith perspective is a healing. If you don't have a healing heart, it's very hard for advice, opportunity, or blessings to come your way. When I was wounded prior to being healed, and recommitted myself and dedicated myself to the Lord, I kept the two worlds apart, business and ministry, but no one ever really, this is why a mentor or a spiritual father is so necessary, because they get to break that down to you with love. And so I've always had this heart for people, but my prior experience, Coach V, wouldn't allow me to live that out because I was so wounded. I had so many people who have lied to me, who've taken advantage of my kindness for weakness, or have taken stuff from me or borrowed stuff that never paid back, whatever it is, I found that through ministry, I get to release that, leave that, release that to the Lord. I no longer own that anymore. I've released them and have blessed them, because I realized that when I healed, and I'm open to what God has in store for me in the future, right? Like I'm making a space. I see a lot of people today who makes a lot of money, but they're not happy.
Mm.
They're speaking to people from a plantation owner mindset, like I'm
Mm.
better than you, right? And just treating people with honor and respect and love, I think goes a long way. But that takes a lot of healing in our heart. And so how is that relating to personal development? Is you can't really put good seeds in bad uh ground, right? Like it's like taking a good seed and putting it in a wounded heart is like taking a good seed and dropping it on concrete.
Mm.
It's not going to grow, right? But when you take a good seed and you plant it in a good heart, in a healed heart, it's like dropping a seed in fertile ground. No matter what you drop, what seed you drop in there, it will grow. And so that's my encouragement: is, man, find healing, and allow yourself to grow into the capacity of how God sees you versus how you see yourself. Because if we continue to keep operating from the place of where we see ourselves, then we'll only go this far. But if you really, really, really get to see where God wants you to go, then it's a whole, it's an abundance
Mm.
of lifestyle, right? It's an abundance of blessings. So hopefully that makes sense. I appreciate you, brother.
No, I appreciate you.
Having me on.
And the Island City crew, they'll bear with us here in terms of the production. But let's get some final shout out. 30 seconds. Who do you want to shout out?
Man, I want to shout out, well, obviously my boy Chris, my older brother. Man, my older brother has been, like, I don't want to get emotional, but my older brother's been like a father figure to me, and my best friend.
Mm.
My family, my sisters, man, my mom, my dad. Obviously he's not here, but yeah, just them, and then my business family, the people that has has withstand the experience of dealing with me, the patience and the unconditional love. My spiritual parents here in Hawaii. He's actually younger. He's your age. He's younger than me. But man, without that guy, without my spiritual parents, I don't know where I'd be today. So yeah, man. So, that's it. My wife and my kids, and just so grateful for life, man. That actually took me 48 years to get on the right path. And so in God's time, that's never too late. So don't be so hard on yourself. I think that's one thing that I used to do. Is I used to beat up on I didn't need anybody to beat up on me, because I would do a pretty good job. So that's it, brother. I appreciate you, man.
No,
And
I appreciate
keep up
you.
the great work. Keep up the
Yeah.
great work.
Yeah. So shout out to the Island City Media Group family for the production of this show that's going to be airing both on Dash Radio from Hollywood, California, and on my Facebook at Coach Viliami Facebook Live. Shout out to Q and Ammon Green. Thanks for letting us go over in terms of, we're an hour and 20 minutes in. We're still broadcasting. And so thank you so much for that. And thank you to Danny Katoa for coming on the show. Shout out to all the people at Legalshield, to his big brother Joe, his mom and dad. God rest in peace to his father, and all the people that have had a huge impact on Danny, that now he gets to reflect that impact and love and the grace of God in his life to all of us that are out here that follow him. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in on the Coach V Show, where iron sharpens iron. Together we rise. And Danny and I are here today, just not for the sake of success. right? But for you, for the sake of being your best, in doing so, you realize the best of your abilities and that everything and anything that you dream and work for can be achieved. This is how this success coach, keynote speaker, Hollywood radio show host, and author lives, all about faith and family, grateful for God's amazing grace. From your boy, Danny Katoa from the 808, and from your boy, Viliami Tuibai from here in Elk Grove, California, broadcast from Hollywood. Until next Mana Motivation Monday here on the Coach V Show. One love from your boy, Danny, and your boy, Coach V. Until next time, one love. Aloha to the 808. Peace. Thank you, Danny.
Aloha, brother.